The early season league games in Italy are seeded to keep the top clubs apart, but that formative phase is over. The big confrontations are underway, and they come no bigger than Napoli against Milan in front of a packed and partisan crowd here in the San Paolo Stadium in Naples. The task for Trevor Francis and myself is to describe for you just how the champions match up against the early season league leaders and how Milan cope with the difficulties of performing in this intimidating stadium. They are a side of class and continuity, and with sufficient depth in their squad today to leave Roberto Donadoni on the substitutes bench. Part of the reason for that is that Frank Rijkaard is available again after injury and suspension. He starts his first league game of the season. Milan with 9 points from their 5 games so far. They're looking good, though you can't say the same about their opponents today. Referee Carlo Longhi back from London, where he was a linesman at Wembley on Wednesday for the European Championship International between England and Poland. Napoli have made such a nervous start to the defence of their title. They've also had to wait for Diego Maradona's latest jaunt to Argentina to finish. The captain very much a law unto himself, but he's back, he's playing of course. And at least their selection worries have been kept to a minimum, although 2 experienced defenders are still on the sidelines, Renica and Corradini. Just 1 win in 5 matches is a very poor return by Napoli's standards. And this really is a vital game for them to win it if they can. If they were to lose, the gap between the 2 clubs would be an astonishing 7 points. Marco van Basten going in strongly. Maybe an early indication here of Milan's sense of purpose. It's their throw. Ivani to take it. Paolo Maldini, who was doubtful during the week, he's been out for a couple of games with injury, and Ivani too was on the treatment table, but they've all come good for a game where they try to test out an old friend, Giovanni Galli. Maradona starting the game well forward, not getting any sympathy from the referee then. Milan, who've really set a new style over the last 2 or 3 years under Arrigo Sacchi in this pressing type of football, where they adopt maybe more of a Northern European approach. They mark zonally. They work hard in midfield, they deny the opposition space, and it's worked really brilliantly for them. But it hurt so much when they fell away at the end of the last season, when the Italian league title seemed there for the taking at the expense of Napoli. Gaudenzi, one of the newcomers this season, getting in across. And I'm sure Giovanni Galli aware of the extra spotlight on his performance today, and glad to have had a couple of touches of the ball most confidently in the opening 2 minutes. Combination of Rijkaard and Gaudenzi halting Kripa, who's a muscular midfield player. And he's starting on the left of the Napoli midfield. And Fernando De Napoli, as always, on the right, who played for Italy in midweek against Hungary and was brought down for the penalty that brought Italy their equaliser on a day when they could easily have been beaten. Here he is, Fernando De Napoli. I'm sure you'll remember him from the World Cup. Who's a pretty tough character, and is responsible for the distress felt by Alamau at the moment.
Well, that's a typical Ancelotti tackle there. He certainly doesn't hold back, and I think that Milan in these early moments have shown their intentions. They've not come here to be intimidated. They've certainly taken the game the opening minutes to Napoli, and I would think that Napoli aren't exactly oozing with confidence, and Milan are going to play on this.
Maradona's free kick. Rijkaard helping back in his own penalty area. This is Incocciati. It's a useful ball in, that Costa Curta was able to just about cope with at the near post. Ancelotti, oh, and he's followed through again. And Carlo Longhi had no hesitation that time. Well, Ancelotti has had a distinguished career in Italy. He's now retired from the international scene, but he has been hurt a few times himself. He's had a broken leg, and you just sense there's always an air of, well, I'll get the first blow in about his present-day play. Rijkaard. This is Tassotti. Hullit's made that sort of angle run that Van Basten also uses to his advantage. Ivani jumping with Maradona. Maradona definitely used the head. De Napoli. De Napoli again to Incocciati, who had 6 seasons with Milan at a time where they actually had a spell in the second division. Baresi against Careca. Casali couldn't prevent the corner.
Well, it was good defending there from Franco Baresi, and he's complaining that the ball didn't go out of play, but I think that it just went out, and we'll see here probably. Well, we can't see, but I think that the referee was correct on this instance.
Corner to be lined up by Maradona. Andrea Pasali, who's been battling against a twisted knee to be fit for this game. Oh, and that's Incocciati. Pasali, who played mostly in the league games for Milan last season, while Giovanni Galli was still a Milan player, but used in the European Cup ties. It's a style of platooning by Arrigo Sacchi, as the Americans would say. But Pasali, who is a couple of years younger than Galli, preferred when the position was reviewed at the end of the season, and Galli allowed to come here to Naples. Who's one of the real unsung heroes of Milan, up and down the left-hand side. But there's that type of frustration to contend with. Visitors to the San Paolo Stadium usually feel they don't get much that goes their way.
No, and Arrigo Sacchi was probably right there. The ball didn't, the whole of the ball didn't go out of play there, and I think on that instance the linesman wasn't correct.
Ancelotti inviting Hullit to chase. Ferrara picking up through Hullit. Here's Tassotti. Oh, and Rijkaard, who is so good in the air and also so well aware of how to time his runs into the penalty area.
Yes, there's a lovely bit of individual skill by Tassotti, getting the ball onto his left foot, and there's a good cross to the back post, and the marking by the Napoli defence left a lot to be desired. Rijkaard stole in and almost gave Milan the lead.
Great save by Galli. Oh, and maybe Hullit and Van Basten got in each other's way there. But Giovanni Galli one up to him, really. It was a significant save. "13 minutes gone, and Napoli so close to going behind, and that really would be a very serious test of their confidence at the moment." Ivani. Well, the inquests are coming from the Napoli bench at the moment. Here's Crippa, Francini going outside him. Gaudenzi, who was signed from Verona. He actually played in the Verona side that caused so many problems to Milan in that game at the end of last season. Incocciati. Maradona improvised to get in a shot that didn't trouble Casali. But there's a lovely open air about this game.
Well, we've already seen some great individual skills there. Incocciati, little backheel to Maradona. I think perhaps he's been a bit optimistic, but it was nice to see a little bit of adventurous play there from Maradona with the chip.
In from Gullit, the other number 10, expressing himself.
There's so many outstanding players on view here today that we can't help but see good individual performances. And already after the opening minutes, you know, we've seen some great individual skills from players, and certainly got off to a good start, and I'll be surprised if there's not goals in this game.
We've had 15 minutes. Milan have scored just 7 times in getting 9 points from their 5 games. Their margins of victory have been fairly narrow on the scoreline. Only won by a 2-goal margin, in fact. But they've been pretty conclusive on the pitch. Carlo Ancelotti. Napoli, for their part, have conceded just 5 goals in 5 games, but by having a poor production up front, just 4 points, and that really represents gross failure by their standards. Van Basten. Oh, and can Gullit get there? Oh, he's waited so long for a goal through his injuries that have kept him out of so many vital games. Indeed, for an entire season, and it looked as though it was going to manifest itself then, after Van Basten had carved a way through. Maradona screening it from Gaudenzi, and Carlo Longhi says to Maradona, "Get up, you've been diving," and Tassotti didn't make the contact that Maradona tried to give the referee. Through Ancelotti for Milan, there's no surprise in that. Letting the ball do the work this time. Maradona didn't see Gaudenzi approaching him on that side, his right. The feeling is that part of the time Maradona spent recently in Argentina was to discuss what exactly his role should be with the national team. Indeed, how long he should continue playing. I think it's a fairly open secret here that he doesn't particularly want to fulfill his contract with Napoli, which runs until 1993. The club might have other views on that, but Maradona invariably gets his own way.
Well, I've read that Maradona was interested in going to play in America, and the following day I read he was interested in an offer from Japan. And of course, it keeps being mentioned about him going to Marseille, so he won't be exactly short of offers, will he?
Well, here is It's the tall and long-haired Andrea Silenzi, and it's Carreca who has clearly picked up an injury, or maybe aggravated one that he came into the game with that we weren't aware of, and that really is a disappointment for the home supporters. With only 28 minutes gone, Carreca is off. Silenzi, the top scorer in the second division last season with 23 goals. He's found it a big step into Serie A. And it's a looping header from Gullit that needed saving. What a difference a goal would make to Ruud Gullit, who of course was written off by so many that his career was over. Re-emerged for the World Cup and has been a regular for Milan this season. Evani. Van Basten clearly went down through his own fault. Who's caught the eye in the opening half an hour with his willingness to run from midfield and his ability to earn free kicks as well. Massimo Crippa just failed to make Italy's 22 for the World Cup finals. He was very much in contention for a place. But Arrigo Sacchi feels that there's a bit of conning going on here. That was beautifully played, and Evani wasn't up to it for once. It was a shame for Milan.
Well, it'll certainly be interesting to see how many fouls Ancelotti is going to continue committing, because I just counted, since he was actually booked, there's been 4 fouls that he's conceded. Just can't go on like this. I'm sure that the referee will be keeping an eye on this, and it'll be interesting just to see how many he does allow him to commit before he decides that it warrants a sending off.
Mauro Tassotti in his 11th season with Milan. Evani, and the pressing done by Napoli then, taking a leaf out of the Milan book. Maradona, options on either side, but still he goes. Surely not going to get a penalty for that. But Milan were concerned as that South American combination came at them then. And that was much more authentic from Maradona. Taking exception to something presumably that De Napoli said in the appeal that came after this incident.
Well, it has to be said, it's probably Napoli's only chance, and therefore their best chance. The ball fell to Alameo, and I felt that the space was on the outside of Costa Curta, and he turned back inside to him and lost his opportunity there of shooting.
Clearly not a penalty. Half that started with a lot of verve and the potential of goals, but things tightened up as the game progressed. But Arrigo Sacchi's team came closest, really. Frank Rijkaard back in the picture again after suspension and injury, with a very solid header and a save that Giovanni Galli, the former Milan goalkeeper, will treasure in keeping it at Napoli 0, Milan 0 at half-time.
Tonight, two dramas by Krzysztof Kieślowski, considered to be one of the most challenging and intelligent directors working in Europe today. Decalogue, The Ten Commandments, tonight at 8:30, SBS. SBS Marketing presents The Face of Italy, a wonderful introduction to the sights and sounds of the 12 Italian cities that played host to the 1990 World Cup. This 2-hour video guide gives a fascinating insight into the cultural riches and the cosmopolitan chic of Italy's cities and its people. The Face of Italy is available for $29.99 plus $3 postage from SBS Marketing on 02 964 2888 or through your local video retailer. Shingen, Japan's greatest samurai, begins on Wednesday. Father and son are slowly torn apart. The heartless actions of a cruel and cunning warlord push a family into lifelong battle. An epic tale of a young warrior's quest for power in medieval Japan. Shingen starts Wednesday at 8:30 on SBS.
Welcome back to the San Paolo Stadium. Napoli 0, Milan 0. Napoli have at least shown some of their force in the European Cup so far. They beat the Hungarian champions, Újpest Dózsa, 5-0 on aggregate to get through to the second round, and the forthcoming tie against Spartak from Moscow. Milan, the holders, got a bye through to the second round stage where they take on Bruges. So Francis, the individual nature of the Napoli side up front, summed up by Maradona here. But what did you make of the midfield work behind them in the first half?
Well, they're fortunate in many respects that they've got such a hard-working midfield. I look at players like Ingocciati and Maradona and now Silenzi. Good individual ability, but they don't really work hard enough for me for the team, and they have to rely so much on the midfield boys of Kripa, Alameo and Di Napoli. 3 players who are working tirelessly, really, to keep Napoli in the game.
You might have noticed on the computer here on your screens that Milan were awarded 56% of possession. I say awarded because sometimes in the World Cup the computer seemed to confound the evidence of the naked eye, but I think that would suggest what we've seen here, that Milan have been the more authoritative side. So Marco van Basten and Frank Rijkaard ready to get the second half underway. And Milan, who would be satisfied with the draw, but a win would be wonderful for them, because it would really rock Napoli back and I think make the prevalent feeling in this part of the world that the defence of the title was over, really at the formative early stage of the season. But one thing you learn about visits to Naples is always expect the unexpected. And who knows what this second half might bring. And the calm air that Milan have brought to their play might be ruffled. Certainly the supporters will try and play a part in that and lift the players who look badly in need of an injection of confidence. Certainly they don't look like defending champions. Here's Silenzi, though, with a good show of early enterprise in the second half, and he almost got too much carried away with it. He does look very similar to the way he was brought here to replace Andrea Carnevali. We won't be seeing much of Carnevali in the near future. Colette. Well, a couple of years ago, that might have ended up in the back of the opposition's net. There was plenty of height to the jump. One other factor, of course, that we haven't mentioned is this is an unhappy ground, or a ground with an unhappy memory for Donadoni. It was here that he missed the penalty. A crucial one in the shootout against Argentina, or had it saved. And possibly there might be some inhibitions in his performance because of that. Gullit, nothing inhibited there. What a great run, and a driven cross that suddenly had Galli really torpedoing himself towards the ball.
That was a marvellous bit of play there by Van Basten, using his strength, getting to the byline and hitting a wicked cross into the centre of the goal. And I would think that Van Basten, well, it certainly took him by surprise, because he should have been across the front of that goal, looking to score with a header.
Yes, Gullit's cross, and Van Basten not really anticipating the venom in it. Rijkaard. Brought out by Maradona. He was fouled by Gaudenzi, but Cripper allowed to go on quite rightly by the referee against Baresi. Well, he's got a big heart, as well as those strong legs, Massimo Cripper. Napoli might be having a nervous time at the start of the season, but he's playing with real character here. And still wanted to go in for a tackle. Might have got him a yellow card if he'd connected.
He was just referring to that play by Gullit. Certainly given a little bit of confidence. I think I may have said it Van Basten, but not a lot of difference between them, is it? Slightly longer hair, Gullit.
That's the only difference, I think. And here he is now. Gullit to Ivani. Now Van Basten. And Baroni. Well, he made sure that Van Basten wasn't going to trouble him in the immediate future. The referee, again, giving the game every chance to flow, didn't blow for the free kick because Milan was still in possession. But now Baroni gets a yellow card, and I think that's a perfect example for referees, really. He didn't stop the play. Milan wanted to have the ball in that position. And then when the game stopped, the culprit was singled out for proper punishment. Really backing up the point, Trevor, you were making about the ponderous nature of Marco Baroni. That was never his ball. Who I think have the biggest first-team squad in the Italian First Division, and some outstanding players on the sidelines. Massaro, who was in the championship winning side in 1988. He's one of the substitutes today. Gaudenzi. Well, it came a bit high for Gullit, but his touch was good, and it's almost as if that cross has lifted his spirits. Maldini. Oh, and Van Basten. That was Maldini again. After Van Basten tried to turn, the ball bounced up. Maldini had continued his forward momentum, really. And it was a snapshot, and a very good one indeed.
Yes, it wasn't a particularly good hold-up play from Van Basten, but you see Maldini coming onto it there. Great link-up play. It's so encouraging for the forwards to see defenders come in attacking positions like that, and Maldini does love to come forward. I thought at first that he'd actually score with it. He was very, very close to putting Milan ahead.
He hit the net, but the wrong side of it. Maldini, here he is again, the son of Cesare Maldini, who's in charge now of Italy's under-21 squad, a former international player. Ivani. Oh, and Gullit! Again, not quite the execution, but what he will be reassuring himself with is the fact that he got into that position. He was first to it. And it would have taken a spectacular header to have actually beaten the goalkeeper then. Follett, what sort of cross will we see this time? Well, he certainly made room for it. Van Basten trying to guide it down. Evani. It was just a case whether Van Basten or Rijkaard would reach it as the Dutchman looked to destroy Napoli here, and in the end it was an Italian who had the shot, Alberigo Evani.
Well, it certainly fell to one of their strongest players there, Evani, because he's so good from that situation with his left foot. He is predominantly left-footed. But once again, good build-up play from the two Dutchmen. And at the moment, it looks as if Milan are the most likely team to score. Napoli is certainly hanging on.
And here comes Donadoni. Maybe because Sacchi just wants to ice the cake a little bit more at this situation where it's looking so promising for his team. Donadoni, who's a very serious young man and would have felt the pain of his part in that penalty shootout on this ground against Argentina very, very deeply indeed. But he's back at the scene of the accident instead of Gaudenzi.
Yes, I would think, like us all, Sacchi's been rather surprised at, and very, very pleased, I would think, at the performance of Napoli, and because of that, he's put Donadoni on a little bit earlier than he anticipated.
Ripper, Milan a bit slow to react, but they managed to fashion the block. Well, you'd think that Milan were the home team, the way the game has gone so far. Napoli, of course, who've been beaten here this season. They went through their championship season without a defeat on their own ground. But they lost to Cagliari, which is certainly the upset of this new season. Just eased past Pisa with a late goal, 2-1 in their only other home game. Still 0-0 here. Milan making the running. Baresi. Venturin saw that coming and made it his. He was trying to get Silencio away down the right. Van Basten dropping deep. Pullitz ahead of him. Rijkaard behind him. But Kripper hit again, able to win the ball back for his side, if a bit unwittingly that time. And Maradona at least draws plenty of opponents to him, and the space is there for Alamau. Maradona's in the centre, and in the end it floated on past Pasali, past that post. Just when you are about to write Napoli off.
Well, Alamau knocks the ball there to the back post, looking for a colleague coming in, but there's no one there, and I thought that the way Maradona suggested that the ball might have actually touched the upright, but I think, as we saw there, it just went past. That's the closest I would think the Napoli have been to scoring.
Here's Tassotti with the cross. Mind you, it won't be a very quiet week here with the European Cup second round coming up, but they won't want to go into that to follow your drift, Trevor, with a defeat. But it might be a win they're thinking of here, and look where Pasali's gone. Alamau! It's the outside of the goal. And he was really given the chance then. Galli will be upset first of all that his team haven't taken the lead, but goalkeeper to goalkeeper, he might have a word with Patalier after the game about this. It was an open goal from a relatively awkward angle, but you are talking about top-class talent. And it actually seemed to clip the outside of the post before hitting the outside of the netting. So here comes Massaro, the second substitute for Arrigo Sacchi, and Rijkaard, of course, is short of matches at this level, comes off with 20 minutes to go. What a chance, Trevor.
Yes, despite Milan being so much on top, you know, there's no substitute for class. And we saw two bits of brilliant play there from the South Americans. First of all from Maradona with a terrific pass, then Alameo with a great run. Having gone around Pazzali, he really should have scored. But it was marvellous play from the two foreign players for Napoli.
And it's put some new heart back into the home side. Certainly the supporters who are starting to reflect the rather downcast air on the pitch. Alamao again. Well, Andrea Pazzali came hurtling out and certainly made up Alamao's mind for him. The match goes on against a rather unsavoury backdrop. Van Basten. Oh, and Massaro, the goalkeeper, stayed on his line. And there was cover for Napoli when they most needed it. It looked when Massaro first touched the ball that Galli would be able to come and take it from him, but he didn't reckon his chances. And now Silenzi brings down Donadoni.
Well, it was a great chance for Massaro. He gets into a good position, and instead of blasting the ball, he's tried to side-foot it across and not really picked out a colleague. I think if I'd been in that position, I'd have blasted the ball as hard as I could at goal.
Donadoni takes the free kick. Hullitz reaches it. Ooh, and Baroni on the ground was tugging away at Van Basten's foot then, it seemed. The referee, the ball was away from the immediate incident. The referee seems to be looking at the ball, but Van Basten is furious, and I think he got a case. Maldini's header, collected by De Napoli. Crippa's coming in. Oh, was he pushed down then? He was, so unnecessarily. And the player who really has typified the sort of effort that Napoli have needed, Massimo Crippa. Well, they haven't got the goal, but they feel they're so close to it as Milan have conceded a penalty needlessly, Trevor.
Well, my first thoughts were that Crippa all afternoon has been diving. I can't remember the number of times he's fallen on the floor. My first thoughts were he's done it once again. I can't believe that Tassotti is stupid enough in the penalty box to have pushed him over. And judging by the reaction of the Milan players, they're certainly in agreement with me.
There are 8 minutes to go. There's a yellow card for Baresi for leading the protests. But Crippa certainly got into a position there where he caught Tassotti out. And what followed might stimulate a Napoli revival after their dreadful start to the season. And if you had to pick one player in the world to take a penalty for you in these circumstances, well, you're looking at him. Baresi would be foolish to get involved again. But Maradona has to deal with the delay. It's a crucial penalty, and it's a goal. Bedlam in the San Paolo Stadium. And they feel exultation and considerable relief, but Saki's emotions very much the opposite. Well, how on earth do you take them like this when there's so much resting on it? He's just tapped it into the net.
Well, they say that we should never miss a penalty, but when there's 75,000 people expecting, it's not easy. The pressure was certainly on Maradona. and he takes it. It's like as if it's taking a cup of coffee for him. So easy. He watches the goalkeeper and then decides to put it in the bottom corner. That was a terrific penalty under extreme pressure.
And Pazzali went the right way, but was still thrown off balance and couldn't react. And Milan, who have been now appeal for something for themselves, and after what happened in Verona at the back end of last season, they would be well advised to be cautious. And Saki, is he walking away from it in disgust?
I think he's had enough. He's walking off.
It's a match that's been simmering throughout, and it's provided an explosive finish. Bigon says, come on. Well, we saw him sent from the bench in Verona. It really was the start of a period of mayhem, but there was a penalty appeal here that went against Milan, and Arrigo Sacchi felt that for a few seconds he couldn't take any more. He's had second thoughts. Massaro. Carlo Longhi was very much on the spot to point to the spot. And how badly Bigon's team needed victory, if that's what it's to be. Donadoni, oh, and Galli just has to pour it behind. Well, Milan have got plenty of players capable of attacking the corner in the air. Van Basten is one of them. Hullet! 1-1. A goal to savour in every sense for Ruud Hullet. It's not the stuffing out of Galli and Alamao and Napoli, but it's certainly a goal that's full of justice, really. And Napoli couldn't cope with the aerial threat, because the first header here was decisive from Marco van Basten. Hullet was on the move, certainly not flat-footed. A great moment for him.
Yes, and they certainly have to thank the two Dutchmen there. A great header from Van Basten. Hullet gets away from his marker, Ferrara, and tucks it away without any problems. That's his first goal of the season, and what a great time it's come for his team.
Arrigo Sacchi is glad he stayed. And Ruud Hullet, not only his first goal of the season, but his first goal since March 1989 because of the injury problems. And a very, very timely one indeed. And what a change in the atmosphere in the stadium. And we're into the final seconds. Well, during the first half, we talked about the decline, possibly, of the two number 10s. When you look at who scored the goals here, they're certainly very much still in business. And Milan, I'm sure now, having felt that they were potential winners until the penalty was awarded, may well settle for what they've got.
Just mention how quiet the stadium is. I was there during the summer when Italy were knocked out of the World Cup against Argentina, and it was a similar sort of day.
Van Basten pulled back by Baroni again. He can't really live with it. And Baroni foolishly getting involved in a war of words now. And here's a free kick, and maybe Milan, having said they weren't looking for more, they've certainly got an opportunity now to turn this game around in the most sensational style. Donadoni, that's Tassotti. It could have bounced anywhere. Rizzardi, who was brought on to try and shore up the win. We've had a minute of time added on by Carlo Longhi. Milan's Hullet again. Van Basten to the right. Massaro anxious to be involved as well. Donadoni's in there. It's Massaro's shot, and Galli's work not over yet. Well, I said at the outset that the real matches were starting now after the early season fixtures, which were seeded to some extent to avoid these big confrontations in the first month or so of the new campaign. Well, I think you'll agree with the point that I was trying to make. It's been very much the real thing here, and a match that was always full of potential had a thrilling finale with the contentious penalty that seemed to have given Napoli a chance to turn their season totally around, dispatched effortlessly by Diego Maradona under intense pressure, only for Milan to show the pedigree that we know, of course, that they possess and that has been illustrated in their early season form. Certainly league leaders of some validity, and Ruud Gullit, of all people, getting his name back on the scorers list after a long absence. It's Napoli 1, Milan 1.